currently resides in the Savannah area. She currently is serving as a state law enforcement officer in the Chatham County area. She is too the founder of Latoya Speaks LLC, a motivational speaking platform for everyone. Her ultimate goal in life is to practice family law after attending and graduating law school. She lives by the quote, even if I have to go alone, I am going. You guys hear your guest speakers, Mr. Anthony Mills and Ms. Dominique Jordan. So if you did not know, I'll be getting ready to ask you a couple of questions just so they can kind of pique your brain. So one of the questions that we'll be going on is, what is the most rewarding part of your job? With everyone who wants to go first.
Rewarding part of my job is helping one. You can only help those who want to be helped. So when I help one person, I've done my job. I recall a time when I was working in the Seaton Police Department. I saw when I was near the old Savannah High School, a young white man was smoking marijuana. I recalled he went to juvenile detention center, and that was it. Then maybe a week later, the mom located me and she told me that I had given her a new son. And that's what she said. She was telling him that he should not be smoking marijuana. He wouldn't listen. He wouldn't even pay her any attention. But something happened to him. He went to juvenile detention center. He behaved. He listened. He did everything that she said. So when I get those one-on-one moments, it's like, okay, the pay may not be great, whatever the pay should be, but just the one-on-one moment, other than the bad side of law enforcement, you get those personal moments.
I'm just recording it with my phone.
Hello, everyone. I would say that the most rewarding part of my job at this very moment is to see the transformation of my probationers and or parolees. I deal with a lot of parolees or probationers who've done a lot of time in prison, whether it be in the federal correctional system or the state correctional system. Some of them come out and say, Officer Drummond, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to live this lifestyle anymore. But if you are a criminal justice major, a lot of times, a lot of things about you won't change unless you change your environment. So to come into contact with those people who are eager about a new phase in life or a new step in life, that's honestly probably the most rewarding part of my job at this very moment.
So the second question that we do have is, why did you pursue a career in law enforcement?
Well, I didn't necessarily want to be in law enforcement. My goal when I graduated from Savannah State was, okay, you're just going to go directly to law school. But upon graduation from Savannah State, my mind was, are you ready to leave to go to law school? So when I first graduated, I worked in misdemeanor probation for about 8 months and some change. And after that, I said, okay, well, you don't really like this. Let's see what law enforcement is like. So while I was in misdemeanor probation, I just felt like the little person. So I was just like, okay, I need some action in my life. So then I decided to go into the law enforcement aspect of things. And yeah, now I'm here.
I wanted to get in law enforcement, but I found all kinds of excuses and reasons not to do it. And I met a young lady one time. She said, Anthony, what you want to do with your life? She said, I'm tired of seeing young black males not doing anything in their life. They're just hanging on the street doing whatever. I gave all these reasons about my mom won't like me, my kids won't like me, my friends won't like me, all this kind of stuff. Give them reason to justify. She said, okay, now what? And she said, are they going to pay your bills if you don't become a police officer? No. She said, are they going to pay your salary if you had any job? I said, no. So I decided to get into law enforcement for that reason, because I figured that you ever had a thing that you felt that you was meant to be something, and then you say, you let people talk you out of it, and you don't do it, and then you finally do it, and then you get the gratification. I will piggyback off of that. When I was in the police department, they had a mounted patrol back in the 1800s. I forgot to put that on there. I volunteered to ride a horse. Never rode a horse in my life. You can't give me a motorcycle, I don't want to ride it, but a horse, I got on it, 6 months of training, did a whole scoop. The day of our debut, the chief said, Anthony, get on the horse, you're going to make history. I didn't do it for that, I did it because I wanted to have a nice revenue. So when I did some research, I found out that back in the 1700s, they had a predominantly white mounted patrol horse personnel. So I'm a part of Savannah history. I became the first black American in the city of Savannah on a horse. So every time Black History come, I always celebrate for myself. So if you never met anyone famous or you know someone, you can say you met someone today. That is in the history book. You used to have my picture in the police department. When I was in Spain, I used to come and see my picture in the lobby. Come back, it got swiped. So I went to City Hall and got the proof to it. And then I was thinking, I said, if she had not encouraged me to do what I need to do, I would have not been a politician. So I would tell you, don't let no one talk you out of what you should be. The best thing is keep your mouth quiet, but they won't talk you out of it. Thank you.
So the third question that we have is, how has your career in law enforcement influenced others and built you?
My career in law enforcement, I'm from Miami, like he said when he was reading my bio. So I know a lot of hood people, right? So my career in law enforcement has, one, built me because it shows me that there's more to life. When I lived in Miami, growing up in Miami, I was always anti-law enforcement. Or they go 12. They snitches, they do this, they do that. I was always anti-law enforcement. And growing up, I never thought that I was going to be in law enforcement because I didn't want everybody to stop being my friend. So it's built me in a way. Now it's built my integrity, it's built my confidence. I know that I'm worth more than just the basic, I guess you can say. And then inspiring other people. I have siblings, I have friends, I have cohorts. And they know I'm not going to do this because I'm 12. I don't even care that they call me the feds or they call me 12 at this point, because it's just like, if that's going to stop you from doing something that you're not supposed to be doing, I don't care. Call it to me. Like, I don't really care. But I think most importantly, law enforcement has built me to be a more stern person, so that because sometimes I don't even take myself serious on my job because I'm just like, you like a little kid. But when I do it, or when I'm enforcing different state laws, and it's just like, you can do this. Like, they have to listen to you. This is what it's going to be. It's like my way or the highway in a sense. So I think that it's allowed me to learn more. It's allowed me to further try to understand people. Instead of seeing somebody who gets out of prison and thinking criminal, instead of seeing people who are on drugs and like druggy, I now take a step back and try to understand that person. Why did you do this? How can you do something different? How can what you did impact the community for the greater good? So I think it's allowed me to become more understanding. It's allowed me to become more stern. And it's allowed me to view the world, honestly, in a different way, to understand a lot of mishaps, I guess you can say, with law enforcement. It allows me to view them in a different light.
Law enforcement, for me, is more about, it's not about the badge and the gun. People think it is, but it's not. Our life is hard. When I got into it, I could walk in uniform, look at people, and I could read their thoughts, the hatred, the anger. But if I touch one person, then I've done my job. So you can't, I don't do it because of gratification. I don't do it because I want to get it. You don't get a scratch and whatever. We didn't get money if you write a lot of tickets, we get on the end of the month. It's not that kind of thing. But I love the job because it allowed me to educate the public. Because a lot of the public don't know why we do the things we do. So when we ask, the reason why I came up with the theme behind the bad, see what I see, because we can get the bad news from police officers. We get the bad stuff. But what about the stuff that you don't see that makes the news? Yeah, that's what I call the backstory. That, when I recall going to a lady house and driving home, she is a single mother, 3 kids, no shoes for the kids, no groceries. She showed me in the kitchen that she didn't have no groceries. So I said, I'll tell you what, I'll meet you tomorrow. Next day I picked her up, took her to Payless, bought her some shoes, bought her some groceries. You don't see that on the news. You don't see those kind of things. So there are cops, police, I don't do it anymore, but there are police officers that do things that don't make the news, opposed to us against them kind of thing. And I'm not saying all police are bad, good or bad, because they're not. It's just you control your environment. So when I educate you or the public, you're like, wow, because I remember speaking one time to another event. You see, I didn't know this. She didn't know that if a police officer comes to her house and she was not happy with the service that she can pick up 911 and ask her supervisor. She didn't know. And a lot of things she asked me, she didn't know. So what gets us in trouble as black or whatever is lack of knowledge. So I get the gratification of answering your question, point you in the right direction. You may not like the answer, but it's the truth. I never saw writing black on the word truth. It's just truth. So I get the personal gratification when you help one person and the next person, and you say, okay, I earned this paycheck. It's not about, even the ones that hate you, that one person makes go. I did my job.
So before I do go on with the next question, do anybody in the audience have a question they would like to ask? Y'all ask the question? I do have a question. So, due to the fact that y'all been in this profession for quite some time, like, what are some of the situations that y'all have pushed out, like, y'all have been involved in, like, bad-wise, and how did you experience, like, dealing with, someone in the facility or whatever, or, like, what is literally a bad situation that you have faced, and how did you handle it?
Back then, before y'all was born, we had the old police cars with the rolling windows. So they decided to get the new car with automatic window. So I worked 11 to 7 shift, and I got a Signal 28. It's a domestic. You can find that on Google. It's not on the talk sheet. So we got a domestic complaint on Barnett Street. I'm rolling down the street, dark. I'm creeping in my car. So you're supposed to look and be where you're going. I saw this black male got behind some hedges like this. Okay, my radar went up. As I got close to the building, I heard pow and an orange shot. And I turned my wheel, and I was gonna let my window down and fire the weapon at him. But he threw the weapon on top of it was a 2-shot there, and to throw the weapon on top of the hood, and I caught it, and we finally caught him. So when he got him up to the car, I said, why you shoot at me? He said, I thought you was white. I said, white? I said, no, the only thing, why don't you use my teeth in the car? So he got 6 years. So that's how I had. Then another time when I was 4 o'clock at night, the guy stole a car. After finally stole a car, we jumped in the fence. You gotta know, this is the backstory. You don't get that on news. You're running behind someone going through the backyard, breathing and not that much light in you. You're looking around, make sure you won't get clotheslined in the backyard. And I said, stop. And he raised his hand, and my instinct said, shoot in the ground. So I shot in the ground. No! Like that. Caught him. Where's the gun? He said, I didn't have one. I said, why you pointing to the finger? He said, because I thought if I pointed my finger, you would have stopped. I said, no, if you had raised your finger, I would have shot you. But back then it wasn't Black Lives Matter. I can imagine it was police officer shoot unarmed suspect when pointing out his finger. And another time, this lady told me to mention this. I was working undercover in an unmarked car. A female was in the car. She was out prostitution. After she told me what it was about, I said, probably wasn't a police officer. She tried to jump out the car. We start fighting in the front seat of the car. She pulled out a cake knife and scraped me on my finger, and I did this. But I managed to cuff her. That time I could have pulled out my females. I have a line here. If you step on my side, you're gonna get hit. You're gonna get thrown down. You're gonna get in a fight. Something's gonna happen. Females are treated just like males. So that's how I handle it. You can't. There's no scenario that you can say this is what I'm gonna do on this, because all of them are totally different. But it makes you go like, gee, did I make my picture? Is this job for me? You do call in the question, do second thought. And since you mentioned that, imagine when Google is put, I'm gonna throw this out. If I pull my weapon right now and point at someone, there's some states right now have said that when the police officer pull his weapon out, he must write a reason why he pulled out his weapon. Now, do you think the bad guy will say, oh, I need to write a note too to give to the court why I pull out my weapon? So also imagine he's riding down the street. This is going to affect his job. He's going to stop someone. He knows that he got to write a letter or something to his superior on why he pulled out the weapon. So he's going to do what? He's going to hesitate. Should he wait for the person to pull out the weapon and shoot him and then fire back? So when you see that come this way, and you wonder why our police officers not doing their job or don't want to do certain things, Google, you find out that the state or the local county told them that they must write a little note as to why they pull out their weapon. So every situation is different. Thank you.
I would definitely agree with Mr. Milton. Every situation in law enforcement is different. There's no protocol on how to handle each certain situation. You can have somebody who's in the Dollar General stealing a bar of soap for whatever rhyme or reason, and you just merely think in the back of your mind, this lady in here stealing a bar of soap, but there's no telling if this lady has a firearm or if she's trained in jujitsu or something like that, to the point where she can literally beat you up or kill you. One of the most like horrific situations I recently dealt with was back in June of this year. Yeah, the end of June of this year, I had a guy who was recently released on parole, and I had to see this guy every single month. So I saw him in June, saw him in July, I didn't see him in August, and then so September comes, and I'm like, hey, Mr. So-and-so, you know, I need to see you. All our cars are undercover, so we don't drive any marked vehicles. So I'm like, hey, I need to see you. And he's like, yeah, this is my mom's house, but sometimes I'm over here. Okay, cool. So me thinking, man, I'm the feds. I'm riding around. So then I see him, and I was just like, okay, I'm not gonna stop him. I'm just gonna keep going on. So then September, the very beginning of September comes. I didn't see him in the month of August, so I call him back, and I'm like, hey, you need to come to the office. We need to have a conversation as to why I'm not able to see you. So he comes into the office. And he's talking. The end of August, there was this case on the news, and it's just like, got found dead. Then okay, cool. So he comes in the office, and I was just like, you know, where have you been? What have you been doing? Where's your mom? Where's your uncle? Because he lives with his mom and his uncle. I'm like, where's your mom? Where's your uncle? He's just, I've been working, blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. But that very same night that I saw him, he killed somebody. So he comes in the office or whatever, and then some detectives are calling me, and they're like, hey, we need to see so-and-so, So I'm like, okay, cool. But they're not telling me, you know, the backstory of what's going on. So then, like, the very next morning, I get a call, hey, suit up, we gotta go find this guy. I'm like, what do you do? Oh, we got a murder warrant for him. So now I look at my supervisor, and I was just like, oh, okay. Luckily, all my ducks were in a row for this situation. But it was just like, it was jaw-dropping, and it was like more so hurtful to me because I was just like, if I would have stopped and interacted with him that very night, maybe he probably still would have done it. I don't really know. But maybe it would have stopped him from doing what he did. Now, 9 out of 10, he's going to go back to prison. But it's just like there's never a certain way to act in law enforcement. You have to be able to rapidly think and act on your feet. That's why a lot of times it's frustrating hearing a lot of people talk, oh, well, why didn't they do this, or why didn't they do that, or why didn't they do this? When it comes to the us versus them, I consider myself now a part of us and them. So when I think of it, I'm just like, okay, I understand your perspective in this, because if I was the quote-unquote them, that's how I would think about it. But being on the us, this is how, you don't know how people are to react. So I would honestly agree with Mr. Milton. There's no protocol on how to react to certain situations at all.
So the next question we have is, how would, or what are some things that you would change about your profession?
I'm a probation and parole officer for the state of Georgia. One of the number one things that I would change about my profession is perception. Though you can't change people's perception of other people, a lot of times working in this field, we immediately get agitated or we get annoyed when people come out of prison or come out of jail, because it's like a cycle. When you're on people's rap sheet, it's just like, you got a 60-year-old man who's been stealing since he was the age of 14. And it's just like, at what point are you gonna get it? But he's begging you and pleading to you, don't send me back to jail, don't send me back to prison, don't send me back to jail, don't send me back to prison. I just had a guy last Friday, been stealing since he was 15 years old. You would never think people would go to prison for a certain amount of time for stealing. This man got sentenced, 60 years old, got sentenced to 20 years.
He said go out this door
to
and
go
go to the
back
right.
to the federal system
Go ahead,
for
right now.
stealing.
Thank you.
When I think of my profession now, it's just like everybody, they're just anti-12 or anti-they POs, or sometimes you go to certain areas of Savannah at night, and now it gets dark at like 5:30, 6 o'clock. You can go down the road at 6 o'clock in the evening, and people are just like, there go 12, making like PSAs down the street. Because you can literally go from door to door. 1 out of every 3 people in the city of Savannah is on paper, some type of papers, whether it be misdemeanor, felony, federal, and it's sad. Another thing that I would change about my profession, if I had the opportunity to change anything about my profession, yeah, perception is probably the main thing. It's probably the biggest thing that gets me at this point. But other than that, I think it's pretty, I like it.
One thing I would change that I've seen, I got into law enforcement in 1980, I said education. We get in trouble by lack of education. Fine, you see something on the news, homie got in trouble, relative get in trouble, but you never got in trouble. So when the police officer stop you, I was thinking about it on the way here. This is a given, she probably agreed with me. Police officer stops a car. Stop me for a traffic light. I walk in the car, good evening. What you stopping me for? Before I even say anything. They always do that. They very rarely say, officer, why did you stop me? You might think it's funny, but say what? No, they yelling, screaming, hollering, and he's like, I'm trying to help you or tell you why I stopped you. And then this is a good one, and I'm throw this one out. We have a question. Gets us in trouble is our mouth. So education, I'm representing what? When I worked in the prison institution, those guys that was in prison never getting out. In South Carolina, back in the day, they threw in jail for everything. This guy been in jail for almost 60 years, never getting out. You got an iPhone, you got Instagram. They don't have that option. My brother, like she mentioned, in-law been in trouble since 15. He's in his 50s now. He always say, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna get back out, but he keep going back. That's jail institutionalized. So education is to tell you that when you go to prison and you're not coming out for the rest of your life, your mom, your friends, and family is not gonna visit you. You're gonna be in there looking in the news. So education, and I throw this one out, is that education. And I was educated. The reason why I came up with Behind the Badge, See What I See, I saw the movie The Hate You Give. You ever saw that? The part about where you put a hand on the car on the hood, that actually happens in real life. And people do, like you say, you got to do a split second. A finger can look like a gun, because you just have a quick response. So to throw that out, I know how that feels. Because 2 weeks ago, I rolled up on an accident. Car in front of me, car on this side. So I was saying, where am I going to go? And the guy was moving out with the breeze, so I said, I'm going to go right there. I'm sitting in my car. Police officer came up real fast, come toward me. My windows were tinted. Move that car right now. Screaming and yelling and give me a. I said, I rolled in and I said, what did I do? He said, do what I say. You know what? It's like I didn't exist to him. And I sat behind the wheel and I rolled in and I said, you know what? Now I see how black males feel when they get stopped. He didn't even, I had my gun, because I'm licensed and carried in my trunk. And then when two brothers came up and I said, sir, I want to tell him what happened. I took my hand to shake my hand. He didn't even want to shake my hand. I said, okay, when he said, didn't I tell you to move? And I said, sir, I used to be then he did like that. When I said I used to be a police officer, he did a double take with his head. I knew enough to shut up. And I imagine if he stopped someone on the street, somebody going to jail like running water. So you got to educate yourself, got to be able to, I would like to educate, I feel I don't know if they have on this campus now, but I know in the city they have some of that community policing where guys go around and educate the public or whatever, because I did that when I had Garden Home, find out what concern the people, not what we think. So I can relate, I can't tell a pregnant woman how it feels to have a baby, but I can say I know how it feels when you get stopped by a police officer and they disrespecting you, giving you a hard time, not letting you talk, not letting you say anything. In my days, ma'am, the reason I was so officer so-and-so, the reason I stopped you, you run a red light, did I have your driver's license so-and-so? That is how it's supposed to be done. And the person say, well, why not get stopped, officer? Then you say, well, I stopped you so-and-so. And now, give me this, I got the badge, I got the gun, you just shut up and do what I say. That's not right. So I would like to change the education. So when you start educating people, then hopefully those who really listen will stop, like she said, don't get arrested and go back and never get out and never see your family. You got to think about that. Think about that. It's the little things that gets us in trouble. Thank you. got black cops, don't like blacks. That's a given. Because they say, well, you ought to be better than what you are. You got white cops, you don't like whites. If I'm working in a predominantly black neighborhood, who I'm gonna stop?
Predominantly black.
Huh?
Predominantly black.
If I'm working in predominantly white, who I'm gonna stop?
Predominantly white.
Right. So when I'm riding in the neighborhood define what I'm doing. In order for a police officer to stop you, you have to do something. They might tell you something different, but you can be walking down the street, going from work. You have to do something out of place. You might be in a drug neighborhood. So you have to do something. It's not about white. I went to a black lady house, knocked on the door. She opened the door. She said, I don't want you here. I said, why? She said, I had a black officer here before, and he didn't do his job. So I want a white officer. I know they do their job. She slammed the door in my face. I said, well, ma'am, you're not going to get a white police officer to come to your house and you put the phone. So white race, and then the thing about, I have a thing, some people don't agree with it, but I say if Black Lives Matter, people say, yay! I said, really, it does matter? I said, no, it doesn't. It only matters to black individuals who obey the law. Simple. If you obey the law, lives matter. 2 weeks ago, what happened? The young man killed his girlfriend. Did that life matter? I read an article last night. 15-year-old female told her black boyfriend, I think I'm pregnant. When he did to her, he killed her. So if black lives really matters, then why are we killing each other? We can say black lives matter all day long. And all lives matter. Who are we to say what lives matter? Yeah, it's wrong when a police officer shoots someone that no gun. But when a police officer shoots somebody with a gun that point the gun at them, and the evidence proved that the police officer justified, we still. The race, people got to understand, when you hear the word racism, ask yourself, who's benefiting from saying racism? Who benefits? You may not like to hear this, but money talks. Money talks and people walk. So race is an important factor in the criminal justice system. You may not notice, I'll throw this out to you. When they build a prison or a jail in the community, you know how they fill it up? With black people, but you know how they do it? They have an agreement. You can Google it. They have an agreement with the state that they must fill that jail
With a certain amount of
so
numbers.
many bodies.
Yep.
So so when we get in trouble, they're gonna go to court. You may normally get the book thrown at you and go out back on the street, judge send you to the jailhouse because that prison system, that jail had made an agreement that they must have bodies. And they had an incident where the prison system was not filling up. The person sued the state. So everything has a connecting factor. So race is always gonna be black and white. It's always gonna be racism in police work, but don't let it control your behavior, especially when it didn't involve you. And accept the fact that blacks kill. We sitting here right now. Someone done killed someone that's black. So black lives to them didn't matter because they're representing, I'm respecting my homie. Go to the funeral, homie get killed, and they come out and say, we're gonna get the person who shot him. Black lives didn't matter. So it doesn't matter when it matters to you. And if you know, so think about it when you hear the term Black Lives Matter. Don't tell me Black Lives Matter and don't tell me the other side of the story. Tell me everything, let me decide. Thank you.
I've only been working in law enforcement in probably like 3 months now. But race plays a huge factor in my job. Sadly, I feel like a lot of African Americans that I work with, they feel like I owe them something because I understand them and I understand why they're in trouble, or I understand everything that they go through when it comes to law enforcement, when in fact, I try to understand them. But as someone who doesn't necessarily disobey the law, it's hard to understand a repetitive criminal. It gets annoying after a sense, especially when you're putting cuffs on another black person and they're just like, why you doing this to me? You black, you supposed to look out for me, you a pig. They don't only call white people pigs. I'm a pig. I'm a bitch. I'm everything up under the sun because I'm a black female taking another black person to jail because they decided not to obey the law. So it's frustrating. Because you would like to think, it goes back to, as Mr. Milton said, education. You would like to think if so many people feel as if Black lives really do matter, you would think that they would educate themselves enough to protect not only themselves, but the people around them. But they don't. In their mind, they're going to go on Facebook, they're going to go on Twitter, they're going to repost a news article of a white cop killing a black man, and they've done their due diligence to Black America. Right? But when you doing your job, they don't expect black people to work in law enforcement because the system was made to be against black people. Before I got into law enforcement, I didn't necessarily think the system was made to be against black people, but I do know that there are certain things that were made to be against black people within the system, not the system in its entirety. Now being in the system, working for the system, it's hard to rationalize how some people feel when it comes to their race and how they should be treated by another person of their race in law enforcement. So it's very difficult because in your mind you're just like, I always think, every time I put my cuffs on a black man, I think about the fact that I have 3 brothers. And I could never imagine being the person to have to cuff my brother and send him to jail. I had one of my parolees, he called me everything up under the sun. And I laughed at him. I said, you know what, Mr. So-and-so, this is your fault. You either going to sign a paper or you not. Either way, you're going back to prison. And sometimes you just have to, like, put it in their face like that. Like, don't feel as if because I'm a black woman taking you to jail because you decided to not do what you were supposed to be doing, I have to be the bad guy now. But you wasn't the bad guy when you hit them people's car and fled the scene of the accident. And then had a gun in the car. But now I'm the bad person because I'm holding you accountable for your actions. When it comes to the phrase Black Lives Matter, I feel like all lives matter, honestly.
That's right.
It's Black Lives Matter comes into account when something's big in the media. We have a lot of social media gurus, social media Black Lives Matter gurus. People in real life, you have some people who protest and things of that nature, but people in real life, a lot of people just say Black Lives Matter just to get a little clout or something like that. But I'm a firm believer that all lives matter, because if a black person kills a white person, that white person's life matter too.
That's right.
If you ask me, who are we to say that only Black lives matter? So when it comes to that term, I'm not anti-Black Lives Matter. I'm not pro-Black Lives Matter. I'm in the middle because I feel like all lives matter. So yeah, but race in my occupation, it's a hard thing to deal with. I don't know if it's because I'm new into the law enforcement or because I've experienced, living in Miami, I've experienced so much hatred against the criminal justice system and against, the police and all of these things, and coming to Savannah State, getting into criminal justice, I had to snap myself out of it and try to understand from all perspectives. And now that I'm in it, and you have so many people who are against you because of the color of your skin, it's frustrating, because at the end of the day, it's like, I wanna look out for my people, but at the same time, I have a job to do. And if I have to hold John accountable, then I gotta hold you accountable too.
Mm-hmm.
So
now we're about to move to our open for discussion. Does anyone in the audience have any questions they would like to ask our guest speaker?
How serious do you take your job and why?
Can you stand up, introduce yourself?
Hey everyone, my name is Monisha Beck, and I wanted to know, how serious do you take your job and why?
I take my job very seriously. One, because I've always thought whatever I do, I need to do the best in it and be the best at it.
Mm-hmm.
I also take my job very serious because I literally hold people's life in my hand. I'm the determining factor. A lot of people will say, oh, the judge is going to determine this, or if I don't feel like talking to the mama, the auntie, the girlfriend, the baby mama, the sister, the cousin, baby mama number 2 or 3, I'll just say, oh, I don't really have a say-so. You have to contact their attorney or the judge. I'd be lying. I literally have these people's lives in my hand. You violated your probation because you went to the store and you stole a $3 can of beer. I'm the one who's going to decide whether or not you sit in jail for some time. I'm the one who's going to decide whether you get out of jail. And if you do get out of jail, I'm the one who's going to decide when you're going to get out of jail. So So I take my job very, very seriously because I can't be selfish with them. You even though, and
Damn.
it's like you can't take it personal. You can't take anything that they say to you or do to you or say about you or post about you. You can't take anything personal. So when it comes to my job, sometimes like I'll make jokes to my friends or to my coworkers about certain things, but when it comes to my job, knowing that I have people's lives in my hands, whether I'm going to be the determining factor, whether or not this guy goes to prison for 30 years or he goes back home to his newborn baby and his child's mother, I have to take that serious because if I was on the other side, I would want somebody to take me serious.
When I was in law enforcement, I took my job seriously because it's hard for me. I had this when I was working narcotics investigation. I used to work drugs. People should blame me for everything on the street because I had good informants. I told my niece and all that. How did you get all these cases? I said I had a taxi cab driver. She started laughing. I said because he was a good informant. He pick up people, right? So that's how I got a lot of cases. So I take my job seriously when I do it because when you start arresting people as a sole quota amount or you top notch officer, you get in trouble because sooner or later something will happen that exposes your behavior. So you got to take it seriously, one person at a time. And sometimes you run behind someone and they get away. It's okay, you got away. And you got to finesse. You got to. I remember doing this tall guy, about 6'7". He was doing something in a club, and I ran his name. He was wanted. So I could have took it serious. I said, he's wanted. This guy tall, big old guy, and I'm just little. I could have just said, well, let him, you go, sir, just go on about your business. Let him go. Mm-hmm. So I said, sir, you're in arrest. He said, for what? And I told him, you need to put your hand in the car. He said, I'm not putting my hand in the car. I said, I'm going to call EMS. He said, why? I said, because I want them here on the scene. So if you and I get in the tussle, they don't have to take a long time. He said, man, you crazy. Put his hand in the car. So you got to use serious. I was serious, but he didn't know that I was afraid. So when you come serious, you got to be serious. Because when I was a field training officer, I was a trained officer, and I had to be serious on writing down what they did. This guy had a bachelor's degree from college. All his book knowledge is. But when he got in the street, he would stop a person, driving, he'd start shaking. He wasn't a police officer, material. Because he was shaking when he was talking. Even I'm standing there, he was shaking while he was talking to the person. So I wrote him up, I took it seriously, and they evaluated him and they let him go. Because I could have said we blue, black and blue, I'm gonna let you go, and look the other way. But no, I had to take my job serious. So you have to, not all police officers take the job seriously. You know the news. But there are some out there, black and white and whatever, that do take their job seriously. That just don't make the news. It's not. It doesn't inspire the public. So I take it seriously.
Hey y'all, I'm Trinae. How y'all doing? Okay, I just have one question. How do y'all feel about y'all safety? Because even though y'all saying y'all got people's lives in y'all hand, y'all really put y'all life on the line. Cause somebody could be watching you, knowing that you done sent their brother or somebody to jail for 30 years, breaking in your house. How you feel about that?
I mean, when
Now,
I was
that's a
working
good
in
question.
phone rang. What are you doing? I think you need to sit down. Word on the street, it was a contract I was doing. Because I was in drugstore. They had an officer follow me around. And I said, you know what? I don't need an officer. Not because I was bad or what, I just wasn't me. So my life was in danger. You go to the mall and people go like this. That's a threat. Or they say, I'm gonna take you out. That's a threat. They could go to jail for that. So you do, when you're off duty, you're supposed to carry a weapon. You can't say, well, I'm off duty, I'm not doing nothing. You're gonna go to jail and get in trouble. Go to a police officer, go to a restaurant, and something happened and someone get killed, and they say officer was there, he said, I was off duty. That did happen to officer, they let her go. And you always on duty 24/7.
It's almost done.
You got friends and family members don't like you. And you can tell the ones don't like you. They'll make it known. I think you need to get out of here. I'll blow your brains out. So you do face that stress and pressure, but that makes you how serious you with the job. You can tell I'm doing criminal justice for college, but I've been a law enforcement. So anyone that want to go, since no one brought it up, working on Savannah State as a police officer is totally different from the street. The ones that go to school and come in and be a police officer, they have not experienced what someone on the street has experienced. They got students, they don't promise their talk. So our lives are in danger 24/7. You see recently police officers getting killed, like running water now. People don't respect the police officers anymore. They don't. It's sad, but they don't. But let them get in trouble. 911, and 911 is gonna say we don't handle the call in the black community. We're not gonna send them. 911 will send a police officer to your location. When you do face that pressure of being killed, but what solved it? The police department didn't have nothing in place for officers. So because of what I heard, I went to the well-known drug dealer, was in prison, jail. So I went to him and said, the word on the street that, but they was involving him, and I said, they said it out. Man, don't worry about it, I'll take care of it. He took care of it. The police department didn't take care of it, he took care of it. Because he knew, I was fair. When you're fair on the street, word get around when you work as a law enforcement. If you're not fair on the street, you're going to get in trouble. I'm not the guy that see you, what gets you killed is accumulation of stuff. And so we're going to have to take him out because he put us in jail for no reason. If I roll up on the corner and I see marijuana right there, I knew who probably had it. Who marijuana this is? It's mine. I say, it's the wind. And ride off in the sunset. I don't say, you go to jail to give myself up. So when you start arresting people out running water, or you get on the street, and somebody's going to take you out.
Okay,
So there's nothing you can do, is just quit or stay in the job. Hope you can retire.
When it comes to my safety, after hours, there's really no after hours because like you said, as in law enforcement officer, you're always on call, you're always on duty. So when it comes to my safety, do I really question my safety? Sometimes. If I took somebody to jail today and they mama, daddy, grandma, auntie, baby mamas 1, 2, and 3 keep calling my phone, then I'll just be like, oh, what if they watching me? Or something like that. Like, it makes you, like, paranoid in a sense. But then, most of the times, I don't really fear my safety because I treat people with respect. So, when they're doing something and I explain to them why they're doing, some people just crazy, don't get me wrong. But when they're doing something and I explain to them why they're doing something, and I'm talking to you like a human being because I'm a human being, so I expect you to communicate in the same way, I don't really truly fear my safety. There's sometimes at night, I typically don't walk in my house without being on the phone with somebody. I don't ride home without being on the phone with somebody. I always look in my rearview mirror no matter where I'm going. It can be broad daylight outside. I'm looking in my rearview mirror because you don't think people see you as a law enforcement officer, but somebody saw you somewhere. Working the St. Patrick's Day parade. Millions of people out there. Somebody saw you in that uniform, so somebody know that you're working with law enforcement. They could tell you what agency you're working for. I had one of my guys, he told me, you graduated from Savannah State on December 9, 2017. You 23 years old. You just celebrated your birthday in March.
Oh, shoot.
How? You looked me up on Facebook. You don't think people go through all of that to find out who you are, but it just takes one little thing. Luckily, he's in jail now, so I ain't but, it's annoying. It's not annoying, but it's just like, it always has your mind on, like, you always have to keep your head on a swivel. My mentor always tells me, because he used to do this, he always tells me, keep your head on a swivel. And my mom, like, it more so, I think my safety now affects my mom more so than it does me. Because my mom lives in Florida. I'm in Savannah by myself. So she's just like, my child's working in law enforcement. You got all these people who are anti-law enforcement. There's no telling what can happen to her while she's in Savannah by herself. The biggest word that I have now is a lot of times we get articles about different gangs and say if a police officer kills somebody in a gang. So Ghostface Gangsters is like a huge gang. Recently, a police officer killed somebody in Ghostface Gangsters, so there can be, you don't know who's a Ghostface Gangster. So those people are like out targeting law enforcement. No matter what type of law enforcement you are, if they see you with a gun and or a bag, they feel like you're anti them, and they're retaliating. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Lex Talionis, criminal justice major. But yes, so that's just their perspective. So I more so fear the retaliation aspect of it than I'd actually like fear my safety in general.
Okay, we got 3 more, and then after that.
Hi, I'm Tiara Gray. My major is criminal justice, and I have a question about the parole officer and probation officer job. Being a woman in your position, have you ever had any, you deal with all types of people, that just got out of jail, or whatever. Do you have anybody try to intimidate you or underestimate you for you being a young woman in your position? And if so, how did you handle that?
Like I told y'all about the guy who me and my partner arrested him. So the whole thing, he loved Miss Drummond. He loved Miss Drummond, right? Everybody loved you until it's time to put the cuffs on. So I was like, oh, Mr. So-and-so, where you at? He was just like, oh, I'm at the doctor's appointment or whatever. So I said, okay, well, I'm gonna come out the doctor's office. He said, no, let's just meet here. I said, okay, cool. So then I called my partner, I called my supervisor. I was like, yeah, as a warrant, then none gotta meet him here, right? So I said, what color car you coming in? He says, I'm coming in a white Toyota Camry. I said, okay, well, what's the tag plate? Tells me the tag plate. I'm like, okay, cool, beans. So now, like I said, all of our cars are unmarked. And he just always, he'll always say little slick stuff, but me, I'm just like, whatever. Because probationers and parolees, they always got a crush on their PO. So I'm just like ignoring him. So now at this point, he sees my partner. So he pulls up. First of all, he did not pull up in a black Toyota Camry. He pulled up in a white Toyota Camry. And then he had somebody else in the car with him. He didn't know that he was going to jail, but it was just a simple fact. You lied. It was just a simple fact. You lied to me. So I was just like, okay. So then I'm sitting in the car. This is why you literally always have to keep your head on the swivel. I'm sitting in the car. I didn't even see him walking up to the car. My partner had to say, hey, ain't that him? I'm scrolling on Twitter. He was like, hey, ain't that him? So I'm like, let me get myself together, whatever. So we get out the car or whatever. So I was like, what's up, Mr. Hicks? So he already looking at me. So he never seen me with somebody or whatever. He was just like, oh, what's going on in this drama? I don't like people in my personal space now because I get real fidgety with people in my personal space ever since I've been working in law enforcement. So this the line. He walk a little across the line. I'm like, Mr. Hicks, Mr. So-and-so, what you got going on? And he's like, I done messed up. I'm like, what you got going on with that? He's like, oh, Miss Drummond, so at this point, he playing, so my partner's like, all right, man, go ahead, turn around, put your hands behind your back. Then he's just like, nah, Miss Drummond, what's going on? My partner's a young male, so he decided he want to act a little crazy or whatever. So we finally get him in cuffs or whatever, and then he's just like, oh, Miss Drummond, ha, I didn't know you was about that life. So he in the car talking mad cash. Oh, you a pig. You're supposed to be looking out for the black people, this and that. But then I communicate again with them. I'm black, you black. I bleed, you bleed. You the one who violated the law, not me. So since you violated the law, you're going to get the accurate punishment, and we're going to call it a day. Sometimes you want to get real nippy, real slick out the mouth with them. But at the end of the day, like I said, you can't take it personal, and you have to remember there's a job to be done. And if you say something out the way to them, they're not going to get in trouble for saying anything out the way to you. But you won't get in trouble for saying something out the way to them. So I always just remember, it's never personal, and I'm always in a professional environment.
My name is Brandon Taylor. I just want to ask a quick question. From you guys' perspective, we all hear we watch news and where there's police officers that kill unarmed suspects and stuff like that, and when there's no weapons in the car, and it might have been a traffic light stop or something like that. How do you guys feel that the way that they handle each situation? Yes, a police officer can be scary, and you don't know what you're up against every day when you wake up in the morning. So for you guys, how do you feel about the way that they handle when a police officer when situations like that happen?
I can relate to when I watch the show Cops. We got the live PD one on now and some others on. A lot of it do for dramatization. But a lot, when I say, did it, man? I saw one, they had the guy handcuffed on the car. A new police officer rolled up, took out his taser, and tased the guy. That was wrong. That was wrong. That was absolute. So when I see stuff that police officers do, I say, wow. But they eventually get caught. Sadly, they eventually get caught. So it does bother me. In fact, since you mentioned that, this actually happened. I was on West Wall Street before West Wall become what it is now. Also get on and say, stop this car, signal 26 traffic violation. I stopped the car. Brother get out, said, sir, the reason I stopped you, the officer's down there. I didn't know who it was, told me to stop you because you were speeding. He said, okay. I said, I need to look in your car. There's a difference in looking. I was looking. I didn't see any weapon. If you ever get off and say, let me look, and he go between the seat, and that's wrong. You need to search him. Can you pop the trunk? Or what I need to pop the trunk? Because I asked you, no, you got to have your right. That's why I say educate yourself. Then, they call it plain view. So if I'm looking, all this is until is not top secret. You can Google. You can, I like to say that, you talk top secret. So you look in the front seat of the car, and you don't see anything. So me and the guy talking, we was right here, and his car was parked up to that door. Also rolled up. He said, sir, the reason I had to stop you because you want a red light. He said, Milton, I'll be right back. Right back. He went to the car, popped the trunk, opened up the door, did a whole search, and come back and said, guess what I found? He had a gun, serial number 5 down. I said, where you get that? Under the seat. I said, you don't have a problem with that. He said, why? I said, I'm not testifying with you. He arrested the guy. Back then, when you go to the court, they have like a room in the back where you go talk to the DA, and they out on the case and you tell them what happened. DA heard what I said, so we're gonna dismiss this because it's wrong. He showed up, found out that the case was missing. He wanted to fight me because I went against him, but they fired him because he was crazy because he wanted to kill the chief. So they fired me. So what I'm saying, that's how I am. Sadly but sure, officers don't do that. They cover for each other. They get a bad, like you just mentioned, guy don't have a gun. You guys, they do it in New York and some places. They have what's called a throwdown bag. Might be a knife, drugs, a gun, and they throw it down and say he has. That actually did happen. They caught in New York. They showed where the police officer had coke in his hand, and he didn't know the other camera was on, and they actually saw him put the dope on the guy, and they dropped the charge, and they found out he was doing it for a lot. He was doing it to make himself as a top-notch cop, catching people with marijuana. So each individual officer will respond differently. Sadly, like you said, it's wrong, but then it's wrong. But then you take what you just said, you have the one where the guy saw in New York, Chicago, black male walking down the street, police officer stopped and said, sir, can you come here and let me, I think you got a gun on you. He ran. It was a sidewalk, car, and the main road. So when they went to grab him, they actually had a video camera. His coat went back. He had a Glock right here. So when he ran between the sidewalk and the 2 cars and pulled his weapon, he got shot. But what the news said, police officer, white cop, shoot black guy. That's the front story. But they totally disregard that he actually had a weapon. So yes, some black males do get shot or killed unarmed. Like the incident I said where the guy pulled out his finger at me and said he did it because he thought I had a gun. You know, you get that. You have a split second. And someone like me is saying, I think it's cancer. So why y'all don't shoot in the arm and legs? Yeah, right. If you right now go get a gun and you want to fire the weapon, you go to the local place to shoot the weapon, they're not going to tell you to shoot in the arm and the leg. Because if you shoot in the arm, what happens?
They can fire back.
You might miss.
Yeah.
So you as a general public, they tell you to aim civil. And you believe it or not, you might don't believe this, guys do run shooting like this. Running and shooting. So if I fire my weapon and the bullet hit him where? Police officer shoot suspect in the back of the head. That's the front story. Not that he was running with the gun. So you gotta educate folks. So yes, it has to be an officer that sees what you just described and turn them in, or that person will keep doing it and gonna get caught, maybe because they killed someone or someone get injured, and then that's how it's been told. But it just, you gotta play, they have to play it by ear. It's not a given set that this is how it gotta be. It's just the officer. and who were around him. Thank you.
Hey everybody, I'm Nate.
Hey, Nate.
I used to watch Live PD all the time because unfortunately my city used to be on there all the time, and I was gonna ask, like, with you working in law enforcement, do you think it's a false reality, like, what actually goes on?
Yeah, because I read an article. Because I read an article. You educate yourself, you say, they put on TV shows like Kardashian and all these other kind of shows, and they have all this drama. What is the
He
drama
gonna
to
keep
make
going,
you
y'all.
watch? So if they show an officer like me, I'm not watching him. He too clean. They want someone to kick his leg on him and take out the nightstick and beat him up, you know, and blood drawn. They'll watch it the next time. It's all that officer crazy so. So yes, it's drama. Because if you think about it, if you ever watch those shows and it's clean and nothing happens, have you? There's always something drama on those police shows. It's never, oh, Officer so-and-so went to so-and-so house and they didn't have no food. He took them to the grocery store and bought them so-and-so. And he didn't say, oh, that's a nice officer. Stay tuned next Tuesday. But if he come and say, where's homeboy? Where your man? He let you live in this way? Then that draws drama.
I don't have no lipstick on. No, I don't.
She didn't have no whatever. So yes,
I don't have no lipstick tonight.
that's why when you educate yourself,
Sure
you
damn well.
watch those shows, you can say.
What about First 48 though? Because First 48.
Yeah. And the one out of North Carolina. That one real too.
I'm not saying the stuff that they show is real, but you gotta give understand they
I
do
like the
add
pants.
some stuff to make it whatever. Even when they do a real story or portray a real story, they add stuff to make it more juicy for you to go watch the movie.
I want somebody to have money I could get in the machine.
I would like to
Get something from the machine. I want somebody to have money.
for coming out and speaking to you guys.
It's good.
And Ms. Dominique Drummond.
What?
Also, our host.
Oh, God, not. What about us?
So can we take a quick photo and then you guys can try sign the track for me.
Did you have a good time at the seminar?
Yeah.
Did you learn something?
Mhm.
What you learned?
Cop.
How to be a good cop.
Yeah.
And what else?
When the cops, like, I forgot what he said.
Because you're so busy being nosy. Stop. All right, y'all, the broadcast has ended. I'm going to finish the video. Good job, Uncle Anthony.